Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Megan Jackson. I am a gentle parenting coach and host of the Parenting Coach podcast. Support you can count on in your parenting journey. This is the last day of a series that we have been talking about called How to Thrive as a Working Parent or as a Working Mom, because most of my listeners happen to be mothers, but I want to welcome any of the other caregivers and fathers and people who are listening to this series. Welcome, everybody. Today, we are talking about mindset, and I often usually start with mindset, but I know that those listening are action takers. They are busy working parents who know that they need to calm the chaos at home so they can truly focus at work and enjoy time with their families. And so we just jumped right in this week talking about all sorts of different things. On day one, it was all about being productive and intentional. We looked at your strengths, we looked at your goals and priorities for your family. And that way you're not blindsided and shocked that things aren't going well. We expect it and we can make a plan moving forward. On day two, it was talking about caring for yourself and how essential that is. It's not even an option. In order to be your best in all areas of your life, you need to take the time to care for yourself. And we brainstormed some different ways that you can make that happen realistically and practically, not all this wishful thinking type of stuff. The next session, day three, was talking about focusing on connecting with your family and your children, because you can't just switch that part of your life off. You are a parent, and that is very time consuming, mentally, physically. Let's see how we can connect with our kids and enjoy that time with them rather than being worn out, exhausted, resentful, and all those other things. Day four, we talked about simplifying your life. The simpler it is, the less chaotic there is. What are some ways that we can simplify? And we talked about 4 areas, or 5 really, of simplification. And that was looking at your daily rhythm and flow to your day, just focusing on those key anchor points. Your schedule and calendar, where can you create some space and margin in that? Your physical environment, that's more the decluttering that could happen if that's something that you feel is an area that needs to be improved on. We talked about the media and technology and just being mindful of how much of the adult world your kids are getting, as well as the intake of just the screens, the Zoom, the news, all of that, and how it affects you. And then lastly, I added in, how can you simplify some of the tasks that you have? Cleaning, meal planning, those types of things. What are some shortcuts you can take, some areas, some systems that might work for you? And for that, every family is different. So you really need to sort of trial and error, find out what your friends are doing, ask me what works and what doesn't for me, because I'm still in the trenches with you. I'm still working alongside of you. And that is part of the joy that I have, is to build this community up with you. So today we're talking about mindset, and I want to make sure my notes are the right way around. It plays a huge role in your ability to make it through the day. What you think about affects how you feel, it affects your actions and the outcomes. So we're going to be talking about that right now. Let me make sure that I am sharing my screen with you, because it dropped off as my internet connection on this very cold, blustery day has not been the greatest. So we're talking about day 5, and I want to know, how are you feeling today, especially after working through the journal prompts? And if you don't have those yet, please do connect with me. I'd be happy to send those to you. How are you feeling now that you've worked through and at least reflected on all these different areas of your life? Come back and watch this episode again. Let me know how you're feeling now. Are you still feeling completely overwhelmed? Have you pinpointed an area of your life that you're like, yes, that part, that day, that comment you made really resonated with me, and I'm going to pick one thing to work on. I always remind people, pick one thing to work on. Don't do it all at once. Make your list, have it there for reference, and then do one thing at a time. Let's pick it apart. But message me, comment in below, #replay, whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching this or listening in. Make sure you check in with me, because I really want to know if this is helpful to you and where are your stuck points, so that I can address those as well. So when we're talking about mindset, I've got this nice little graphic up. I'll probably put it up on social media somewhere as well. But what you think, the thoughts that you put into your head, your internal dialogue affects so many things. It affects your outcome eventually. But when you consider it, it affects how you feel. And how you feel is going to impact your actions or inactions as well. And then those actions affect the outcome. And so it's all this circular motion, what's going on and swirling around in your head. So let's do some practical examples of that. If you think that today is going to be a disaster, you know that everyone was tired, you wake up in the morning and you think, oh gosh, it's Monday, what a disaster. How are you going to feel based on those words? You're going to feel lousy. You're going to feel out of energy. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel frustrated, hopeless, because you've already put into your mind that this day is going to suck. It's a Monday, it's rainy, it's cold. I'm on a Friday and I'm trying to fight myself on this too. How you feel now is pretty lousy and hopeless. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to sit around, pull on your pajamas, jump back into bed and hide. Or you're going to go about the day and just be less motivated to act on things. You're going to be more snappy on your kids. You're probably going to do maybe more screens because it's cold and nasty out. Do you see now our actions? We're doing more screens, less motivation. We're bundling in, hunkering down. What's the outcome of your day? What's that going to actually produce in your day? What kind of attitude is that going to produce? What kind of outcomes? A whole lot of inaction, a whole lot more just sitting around staring at screens, and probably a lot more grumpy attitudes. Now let's take the exact same situation, same Monday, same crappy day, same lousy weather, whatever day of the week you want to stick that on. If you think to yourself, weather's pretty lousy, but I can work with this. Let's see what we can do about the day, you know? Or, hey, it's a great day to stay indoors. Like, just telling yourself, even if you don't quite believe it, your brain listens to your internal dialogue. So if I know that I've got a lousy weather day out there, my kids probably aren't going to be out there because we live in a forest and it's actually probably dangerous with all the trees whipping around. I'm now going to think to myself, today is going to be an indoor kind of day. Well, how am I feeling about that? Well, I'm feeling like, and I might need to sit with this for a while. What do I feel? Well, I'm a bit frustrated because I had wanted to get outside and we've been enjoying the nice weather, but I'm also feeling a bit hopeful now that I've got some ideas of things that we could do, some projects. I'm thinking, I'm feeling hungry actually right now because I skipped breakfast to join you. But there's all these different feelings that are coming alive in me now that I know today's going to be an indoor day, that we're going to be spending more time as a family. I'm feeling that my a little closer and more connected is what I'm feeling about how today is going to be. So now how am I going to act on that? Well, I'm going to make some plans. I'm going to pull out some board games that we haven't played in a while. I'm going to make a list of activities. I'm going to have some rules around screen time so that we make sure that we get some things done. I'm going to make sure that I have some space for myself, because in this closer day where we're all inside, I'm going to build in some boundaries and margin, because I'm feeling like a bit closed in, but I'm going to do something about it. I'm not feeling as hopeless because I've told myself that I'm preparing for this indoor day. My outcome, I don't know yet, but I know that the outcome is going to be far different. We're going to be doing a lot more. We're going to go through more of a checklist kind of day. We're going to be trying out a lot more things. The outcome may produce a lot more cleanup because we are inside more. But I was mentally prepared for that way back at the beginning when I thought to myself, it's an indoor kind of day. And I instantly thought, okay, how do I plan for this? Rather than feeling today's crap, how can I avoid it? Do you see the big difference in your mindset? You see, what we're filling your mind with is that internal dialogue. It's what your brain is thinking. But this goes beyond just the parenting, just this one day. What are you telling yourself in general about your whole life? Who you are as a person, who you are as a mother, who you are in your work life? Because what you tell yourself is what you're going to believe. If you're telling yourself internally, and you don't even have to verbally say it, if you're thinking, I can't do this, I'm ignoring everyone, my house is a disaster, how do you feel when you hear these words out loud and you just realize, oh my gosh, I've been telling myself this. This is what I've been believing. I feel hopeless, weary, exhausted. How is that working for you? How is that affecting your feelings, your action, your inaction, your outcomes? What is actually true? I can't do this could turn into, I actually did a lot today. When we look at what you were able to accomplish, you kept tiny humans alive. You fed people. You got on client calls. You got dressed and had a shower. I mean, if you break it down, you actually did a lot today. Your plate, your stress level is just more than one human can bear, and you are under a lot of pressure. That same pressure, that same life circumstance might not change, but you can certainly coach yourself and talk to yourself a little differently about it. Talking about I'm ignoring everybody might move and shift in your mind to I'm still learning how to manage my time. That's a very different attitude. I'm learning to manage my time gives me grace, gives me forgiveness of myself, and gives me a chance to say, okay, I'm learning. Maybe things can tweak. How can I change this? How can I shift that? Learning and growing is different than failure in your mind and how you're going to react to it. When you talk about my house is a disaster, well, aren't we all? I mean, really, my house, you don't want to see the behind the scenes pictures, but my mind, and I'm saying to myself, I'm focusing on the other priorities today. My focus wasn't the house. If my focus was the house and it's still a disaster, then one, I'm still learning how to clean and do housework, or I really do need help here, and I'm going to look into that and figure out a plan. But if my focus wasn't even on the house, honestly, and I was dealing with my children, and I was dealing with work, and I was dealing with something else, then it's okay. I can give myself grace and say, look, I wasn't even focused on the house today. Yeah, it looks like a disaster. You can tell that wasn't what I was dealing with. So we need to talk to ourselves the way you would talk to your best friend or your husband or your partner or your children. We all have bad days, honestly. What are you telling yourself? How would you talk to your friend the same way you put yourself down and beat yourself up? If your friend came to tell you, oh my gosh, I am just completely overwhelmed with work. The kids are sick. I've had to call in another sick day. I don't know where I'm going to get a babysitter right now. And the house is a disaster, and I don't even know what to feed them for dinner. Imagine your friend said that to you. What would you do for them? What would you say to them? My guess is, you've got this, girl. Get takeout. Call your boss in, take that sick day. The work's going to be there tomorrow. Care for your little one. That's most important. Would you have said that to yourself? Or would you have said something kind like that to your friend and then internally to yourself say, why can't I get this all together? Why am I failing everyone? Why can't I get this on top of this? What am I going to feed everyone? I suck as a mom. See, we really need to treat ourselves the way that we would treat other people. Now, a way to get over this, how can I actually combat this? One way is to write down this list. Make this chart for yourself. Have one list or multiple pages, a full journal. Go ahead and blog it out. How do I see myself? What are these things that I'm telling myself, either consciously or subconsciously? How do I feel about myself? Put that on one page. Now I want you to get a new, fresh page, because this is a whole brand new you. What is actually true? Who is the person that you are going to be? Where are we heading? Who are you? And in order to come up with these truths that you want to tell yourself, personally, for me, I look to my Bible, because I see in scripture that I can do all these things, that I am worthy, that I am well loved. But there are also wonderful inspirational quotes out there that might inspire you by other authors and poets that really have a lot to do with the human condition and who we are as people. You are loved. Someone cares so deeply about you. Your children love you. Your friends love you. You are worthy and you are valuable. And we need to work on this growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Write it out. And see, how does that make you feel seeing these things? I started with a box. And every time I came across something inspirational, a postcard, a meme, some line in a book that really inspired me and encouraged me, I wrote it down. And I kept a journal. Much like a gratitude journal or a joy journal, I started writing it down. I put it on little strips of paper. I collected these notes, kind notes and thoughts that people had sent me. And on my really hard days, I went back and I looked through those as an encouragement. Another great way to do it is to actually stick posters up. Pin them up. Stick something on your bathroom mirror. I love doing affirmations. And I have an entire Pinterest board, which I will hopefully remember to link for you. If not, send me a message and I'll make sure I get that back on. But yeah, I have an entire affirmations board for parents, for kids, because it's this daily repetitive what you tell yourself. And even in the emotion coaching and the big feelings classes that I've done with children and families, we started off each session with an affirmation. And I did this with my children. So what you can be doing right now, and what I'm telling you as a parent, do these with your kids. especially those of you who have perfectionist children who are really struggling with making mistakes and failing. Talk about it. What is true? What are you filling your mind with? What does growth mindset even mean? The Big Life Journal is a great resource for kids. They have a podcast. They have a newsletter with weekly freebies. They have a journal as well as other PDF activities you can do. But that's all on growth mindset. And again, in the feelings class I offer for kids, we do a whole session on mindset, and that's built in throughout the whole course as well. So do positive affirmations with your kids. Model for them. You're giving them a leg up on what you're dealing with, because if you're struggling with your mindset, how much more impactful will it be if the whole family works on your family mindset and individually and talking about this growth, making mistakes, giving yourself grace, using the word yet. I am not there yet. I am still learning and I'm still growing. There's a lot of ideas, but yeah, I have little cards. That one idea that we did was I would start our day with a positive affirmation. And for our family, it included a bit of Bible, some verses, different things like that. But we had quotes. I found little poems on the internet. There's even full companies out there that sell affirmation cards. And we started our day with that. And then I just kind of let it go. And then at dinner, I asked them about it. And I said, how did you show this character quality, this trait, whatever it was that we were focusing on of the day? How did that go for you? And the more we got into that, they actually were thinking about it more and more during the day. And it was just things like, I have grit. I can work through hard things. And then at the end of the day, I said, when was a time in your day that you were able to do this? And it really built up their self-esteem and their positivity. Remembering, wow, I did something hard, or I did something kind and thoughtful, and I saw beauty in the world. So I'm going to share a link with those for you, but let's do this. Let's get on this positive attitude and build each other up. Another reason why I love community. We are not meant to be doing this alone. And yes, I do offer 2 emotions courses that are independent. You do them with your family. But really, it's the group coaching. It's the Facebook community. It's the whatever I have coming next, because I really would love to move off of Facebook and maybe onto, Mighty Networks or something like that. But it's that community building that is so important, because we can build each other up and encourage one another. So earlier in the week, I challenged you to create a gratitude or joy journal. And I want to know who took me up on the offer. Let me know in the video. Let me know by message or email if you're listening to this. Did you start a gratitude journal? Are you going to start a joy or gratitude journal? And how did that go for you? Especially those of you who are skeptical about it even making an impact. If that's the one thing you do, without tackling the decluttering, without doing all these other things, if you just start making a journal and writing down just maybe 3 things each day, either start your day with it or end your day with it or do it throughout the day. What brought you joy? What tiny little moment, a beautiful sunset, a pretty flower, the smile on your child's face, the compliment that you got from a customer. What lit you up? What are you thankful for? Write those down every single day for a week or 2, and then get back to me and let me know how that worked out. I'm going to be checking in on all of you, so be sure you let me know before I get back to you. And I want to know what brought you joy this week. And I will be 100% honest. This brought me joy this week, because I am able to use the hard times in my life, and I'm able to fulfill the purpose that I honestly feel I have, which is coming alongside others and being an encourager and being that support system for others. And I've had the most wonderful, kind feedback from some of you that I'm actually making a difference in somebody's life. And I can't think of a better purpose in life than to do that. And so I am filled with joy that I've been able to come here and share with you what's working for me and to be an encouragement for you. Now, we're going a little long today because some of you are saying, okay, so where do we go from here? Was this it? Is this all there is? And for some of you, that might be it. You might just enjoy this workshop series and think about it. Some of you may have just passed by the emails, whatever it is that you need right now, I'm still here. And so let's talk about where we can go from here and what I want to offer, because I know that 1 week is jam-packed. I was considering even doing a 1 day because I know how busy you are. And I truly appreciate your time in coming back over and over again. What I want to offer you is 6 weeks. Why 6 weeks and why right now? Generally speaking, and to be honest, I wish this was better timing for this, but I think it's perfect timing for where we are all at right now in our lives. So if you're listening to the podcast episode later in life or rewatching a video 6 months, a year from now, this might not even be an offer. I like to do 12 weeks because we need time to make changes in our lives, to process, to think, to implement, and then make changes. However, we are about to start June. And then moving into from June into July, we've got the summer. And everyone is busy in the summer. Your kids are off. You've got totally different priorities over the summer. And so the reason why I'm choosing 6 weeks right now is because it takes time to change. This 1 week, listening to one episode, that's a lot to take in. And so it takes time. You're busy, and I don't want to add more stress to your life. So I want to go nice and slow, 1 week on each topic, give you time to ask me questions, to process it, to have time to even come and watch the videos. Summer is coming, and I want to make sure that you have a support to bridge that gap, to have a plan in place, to shift your current rhythm and daily schedule from school year to summer. And then you can reuse this again as a sort of transition or support backwards from summer to fall. And so I want to make sure that you have that support plan in place. And there's also a lot to cover. I mean, I've been getting messages back and forth with people about, back on day one still. So there's so much to cover. We want to make sure we have time, but I also want to value your summer with your family. And so this time only, I'm offering a 6 week of group coaching. Usually I would more strongly prefer the 12 weeks or more, honestly. I've got big plans, big ideas, but we'll go with this for now. So let's look at some of the details. If you're interested and this whole thing really resonated with you, let me talk about the details. For those of you who are less interested, and I hope you didn't turn off the video already, but if you're still with me now, I also have other ways to work with me. So stick with me to the end of this session. I want to tell you other ways you can connect with me, free ways, some lower cost ways, just so we can stay connected, okay? For those of you who are interested in the 6 weeks, what that would entail is a free intake call so that I can get to know you a little more personally, find out where your struggles are and who's in your family and what that might look like. So you get a free intake call. Everybody does. Anyone ever listening to me, hop on a call with me, and I offer, just free strategies and getting to know you. We would have a weekly group coaching call for 6 weeks. Group coaching calls would include a little bit of me talking and a lot of you bringing forth your immediate challenges and struggles, and we work through those. And you hear from other families who are like, yes, I'm struggling with the same thing. Or, hey, I did struggle with that. Here's what's worked for me. And you get the input from other people, and it's fantastic. I'm going to have a course website with videos, journaling, and resources. And I'm looking to have it all in one place so you're not split between multiple websites and apps and all these things. That just drives me nuts. And it's a waste of your time and mine. But in order to not waste the coaching call times, if I have a teaching lesson, such as what I've done in this series, I want to have that available for you to watch, reflect on, have some journal questions and other resources that I have. We're going to have a private community with unlimited support because some of you are more typey, some I can't make it because of time zones to the actual calls. So I want to make sure we have that added level of support. If and when I can, I have some experts that I want to bring in, especially if you tell me that you're struggling in a specific area. So if the majority of the people have babies, I'm going to get a baby expert in. If most of the people have teens, I'll get a teen expert in. If we're struggling with a certain thing, I've got a fabulous resource who comes in and talks to those more at the business executive workplace level. I bring some of those people in, and topics geared towards busy working parents. This one is mostly for working parents. If you aren't working and you have been listening in and want to join us, please do. Because really all of these topics apply to everybody, but for this purpose, I just thought I'd focus on one group of people at a time. I want to give you some bonuses. Because who doesn't love a good bonus? You want to sign up with me right away. You are the beta group. And so as a beta group, I want to thank you for your time because I'm going to be asking for your feedback on how this went and how I can improve. And I want to make it worth your while to jump in on the ground level of an idea that I have. And so as a thank you, I want to give you free access to this emotion coaching intensive that I'm always talking about. You can still purchase the kids course, but the adult one I want to gift to you for free. I'm also going to have an extra bonus one-on-one call with me sometime during that 6 weeks, which would be a longer call and a one-on-one call with me. I also have a reflection journal that I give to all my coaching clients to help you get started with thinking about where you're heading with your parenting. And I know that the title of this group currently that I've had it listed as is How to Thrive as a Working Mom. But I know that in today's world that you and any partner, spouse, husband, boyfriend, ex, whatever your family arrangement is, it could even be another your parents that you're living with, whatever your situation is. If somebody in your household would like to join us for the group coaching calls because they are sharing responsibility for the kids, they're doing the drop-offs, they're helping with the bedtimes, we need to get the whole family involved. They have questions, they want to improve on their parenting, or maybe you want to encourage them to get more involved. Whatever that might look like for you, I want to offer your parenting partner a discount. So it would be $647 per person. If you have a couple, it's $697. So that the partner you're sharing, probably your Zoom call you're in together and you're working together through this. So I want to offer you that and encourage any parenting partners to join in on this. I'd love for you to check in with me, send me a message. Your email coming out this week, and it would be in the show notes as well, would have the registration form for this. Action steps for today. Did I save this? Oh my, I am missing a page from my PowerPoint that has disappeared. And so I'm going to reshare my screen and grieve the fact that I lost a page, because I created a whole extra page to tell you more about how to work with me. We're just going to talk about it. Why not? Let's get off sharing screen and I will just talk to you and share with you. And we're just going to go with life, right? Yeah, let's just talk. The other ways you can connect with me, because I'm not going to worry about technology, that's too stressful. I offer one-on-one coaching, and there's different packages. I prefer working for 3 months because, again, change takes time. Although after an intake call, if it's more of just a specific one-time thing, we do a 1 month package because, again, I want to check in with you and make sure that you are feeling supported. So we've got 3 months, we've got 1 month packages. That's one-on-one with me, you, and again, if you have someone who's parenting with you, bring them on the call as well so I can address both of you. So that's if you want more one-on-one coaching, I do offer that, and that's a different price point. I also, if you feel like I would be a good speaker or presenter to either your workplace, your mom's group, your church, you and a bunch of friends, I love offering workshops and guest speaking. I regularly speak to groups. I've done a lot of homeschool groups recently, a lot of conferences. I'm speaking to some congregations coming up. So you can ask me to come and be a guest speaker, do a workshop with your workplace. I talk about stress management, empathy communication, emotion coaching, parenting during the pandemic, how to work from home in the workplace, all these different topics. I'll be sure to check in with me. If you go to my website, I have 2 at the moment. It's joyfulmudpuddles.com as well as meganjackson.ca. Click on the link to work with me and you will see that there's a whole guest speaker with a list of topics that I do. So that's yet another way that maybe this is resonating with you and you want me to come and speak to a whole group of people. Also, if money is tight right now and you aren't quite ready to commit to something, I would still love to stay connected with you. I have a podcast. It's called the Parenting Coach Podcast. It's available on all your listening stations and my website, as well as Apple, Stitcher, all these different places. So the Parenting Coach Podcast with Megan Jackson, just switch names, so do a search for that. I also have the blog, which is an extended version of the podcast show notes, and I do additional blog posts as well. There's a Facebook community. Aside from the group that is listening to me currently live on Facebook, I have a bigger one for the Joyful Mud Puddles community. I'm probably going to change its name in the next day or two. So if you're listening to the replay and you can't find Joyful Mud Puddles, you will find me eventually. It's going to probably take several months for the whole name switching to happen. But I'm dropping the label and I'm going with myself, Megan Jackson. But I do have a free Facebook community where there's so much interaction, people asking questions, I'm sharing what is coming up with me. It's just fabulous community. So lots of ways to connect. And for those of you who have a faith and you're interested in that type of connection with me, I've written a book. It's actually available on Amazon and Kindle. It's a published book. It's a 31-day devotional for moms called Joyful Motherhood. And it's a way to connect with you and your children and their scripture and some reflection journals. So it's sort of like journal, devotional combination. And that's available as well. Take care, everyone. Check in with me. It's been a joy working with you. I will probably be back again this weekend to check in with you. And you can expect an email from me if you are on the email list. Have a joyful day. I'll see you soon.